Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe. Today, this podcast is all about Chet Holmgren, the rookie who had quite an incredible first season, played in every single game, was just a monster on both ends of the floor. And it's incredible to think about when Chet started in Summer League and to see how he was still contributing and impacting the game in the Western Conference semifinals.
Chet had an unbelievable season. I think if you count those Summer League games, because at end of season interviews, Chet was very adamant that we recognize that he played 97 games this year, if you count the preseason and the playoffs. But I think if you count Summer League, he probably is up over 100.
100.
So there you go for the
Wow.
for the 12-month cycle. Chet, you hit the century mark. Nicely
Congratulations.
done. And you know that I think was it wasn't a goal heading into the season for Chet, but a point of pride coming off of what he went through, how lonely and challenging that must have been, to go nearly 12 months without getting to really play live basketball, and to get himself from that point that we saw in Summer League where, even by his admission, he had some things that he really needed to work out in terms of, spatial, aspects of the floor and confidence, to get to that point, to the point that he got to in the playoffs, where he is a massive factor on both ends of the floor in high leverage situations. Really impressive.
Just goes to show how much he attacked that year head on and how he attacked this season as well. All right, let's get into our stats of the season for our friend Chet Holmgren. What's your stat?
Mine is 129.
This feels like blocks.
It is not blocks, but the thing that he does on the other end of the floor really well.
Dunks.
Shoot threes.
Oh.
He also dunks really well.
Yeah, dunks too.
He probably did too. I think he did. He did have 100 dunks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was a stat where he was like the first player to have 100 threes and 100 dunks on the season or
That's
something
right.
like that. I picked 129 though because that is a Thunder rookie record for most made threes in a season. And you think for a guy who's 7'1" to be setting that record after 16 years of Thunder basketball, that's really impressive. And I think, as Mark Daigneault said in his end of season interview, this is probably the lowest level of Chet Holmgren that we're going to see for a really, really long time. And so if he's making that much of an impact over the course of the season from behind the 3-point line now as a rookie, you can only imagine with another summer of full strength and conditioning training, more time behind that NBA 3-point line, you can only imagine that marksmanship could even go to another level.
And it was so interesting to see how difficult Chet was putting defenses in just so many difficult binds and situations. I mean, teams had to really throw the kitchen sink just because Chet could pop, he could roll, he has the vertical threat too. It's like, what do we want to take away? And teams were getting a little creative this past season to try to slow down Chet Holmgren. But obviously, just incredible versatility that puts the Thunder at an advantage.
And really helps the Thunder play the style of basketball and offense that they want to play. Having that 5-man out situation is what can allow Shea and J-Dub and all of those cutters to make absolute mayhem in the paint.
All right, you chose an offensive stat. I chose a defensive stat.
Wow, Chris Fisher would be so proud of you.
So proud. Somewhere he's smiling. 950.
950.
This is a deep cut. I went on a little bit of a deep dive on this one. I apologize.
950.
It's like a large number.
It is. That's quite large. I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me, Paris.
This is the total number of contested shots.
Oh, that's a good one.
By Chet Holmgren.
I even have it here.
I know.
Stats.
I was actually shocked.
Yeah.
That one. But I brought this up because everyone wants to talk about blocks.
Right.
Everyone wants to say, well, yeah, he's out there swatting shots. But it's not just the shots that he blocks. It's the shots that he contests and he deters.
Yeah.
Because the impact that he had around the rim and on the defense this season extends beyond the shots that he blocked. And this 950, that's second in the NBA, behind just Brook Lopez. That is the only person who had more than him this season. It's a perfect illustration of how impactful Chet was on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we see guys do those little exit ramp plays where they are like driving, right? They're like driving towards the rim and they just decide, I'm not doing that. And of course, you get a contested shot on a block as well, so those count too.
True.
So all those times that Trey Murphy and Herb Jones and those guys tried to attack the rim during that first round playoff series from the Pelicans, and Chet denied them at the cup. those counted as contests too.
Sure did.
But the other ones are the more invisible ones. And as the team always talks about, defense is a lot about invisible work.
Yeah.
And Chet is, one of the guys at the forefront of that for this team.
And I think the ratio for blocks to contests would be about 1 block for every 10 contests.
Yeah.
So there's 10 total and 10 total contests, deterred shots, missed shots that Chet impacted. One of them's a block.
Yeah.
So that paints the full picture. And also the shots that didn't go up anyway, just because guys are like, never mind.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Bad idea.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds you of how guys talk about cutting is like, I might only get the ball 1 out of 10 times that I cut in the middle of the lane, but I have to do it because that's part of our offensive structure, and that's what helps keep the defense honest. In a similar way, that's what Chet's doing with his defense and those contested shots is he's helping the Thunder play the percentages that they need to play in order to tilt the math in their favor when it comes to contesting shots.
A beautiful numbers game for Chet Holmgren this season. Okay, let's get into Made You Look. Mine is Chet Holmgren was the fastest player in Thunder history to reach 1,000 career points, and that took 59 games for him. Russell Westbrook did it in, I believe, 65 games.
Okay.
Or 64, something along those lines. And in my brain, I don't know why this was so shocking to me, because I envisioned Chet as, I know he's out there scoring and doing great things, but I think for him to be the fastest player to reach 1,000 speaks to just his offensive impact as well, and the consistency, because playing every single game helps that a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Being able to not just get to the rim and dunk the ball, but also knock down threes, it's going to speed up that process as well. And so I thought this was a really cool thing, and it definitely kind of like made my eyes pop a little bit about Chet's season.
Well, I think it also helps kind of remind everyone that this guy was the number 2 pick in the NBA draft, in a really good draft.
Yeah.
And that, there's a reason why he was selected that high, and it's because he has the ability to impact the scoreboard in that way. Could Chet have gotten to 1,000 points in 2/3 of that time? Yes, but he was playing on a team also that was near or at the top of the Western Conference nearly that entire time. That's kind of what makes this even more impressive, is that he was able to fit in seamlessly to what the Thunder wanted to do offensively, be productive and efficient in that. That's actually the goal that Mark Daigneault and Chet had for him at the beginning of the season, was impactful and efficient. And he was both of those things. That stat that you laid out is the exact epitome of that.
And that's a really good point, because 1,000 points, it wasn't like 1,000 shots he had to take to get those 1,000 points. This man was just precise, precision, efficient. Just so cool to see that stat from Chet. All right, what made you look?
Mine was the 8 blocks that he had in Denver.
You mean the block party he had in Denver?
Yeah, and just to confirm, by the way, Chet didn't even take 1,000 shots on the entire season.
There we go.
So nicely done in terms of the efficiency standpoint. But yeah, Chet absolutely erased everything that night in Denver, where he blocked Nikola Jokic's shot, he blocked Aaron Gordon's shot, he blocked Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's shot, he blocked Michael Porter Jordan's shot. I mean, he blocked everybody. He got a little bit of something from the whole buffet.
Yeah.
And he was able to erase things at the rim, and it was a little bit of that coming out party on the defensive end for Chet. I mean, he had obviously that massive game early in the season against Cleveland as well, but for him to have that type of impact once again against a team with a massive amount of size, the defending champions, really impressive for him to go out there and do that.
I think I remember after that game in the press conference, and we asked Chet about the blocks, and he was like, I was just trying to make a play.
Yeah.
Like, he's not out there hunting blocks. He's not out there trying to rack up these numbers. He's really just trying to make the best basketball play. And it happens that he's 7 feet tall with really long arms and can deter a shot after it leaves somebody's hands. And that's what he was doing in that Denver game.
And also a great second jumper. I mean, and incredible recovery skills. How many of these blocks throughout the course of the season did we see where it was basically like a 2-on-1 on the backside, the pass gets made, and Chet's the second guy off the ground, but still able to reach the summit before, the guy that he's contesting is able to get up there. This
also could have been a made you look for me, and it goes hand in hand with this. For, I believe, probably 3/4, if not more, maybe like 78% of the season, Chet had more blocks than personal fouls.
That's right. Yeah.
Total.
That's right.
For a rookie.
Impossible.
For a rookie.
Yeah.
Which is a guy who is been blocking shots his entire life and career, probably being the tallest guy on the floor in every game that he played in, leading up to the NBA. To have that level of discipline and, timing to be able to go up there and get a block and not rack up a bunch of fouls at the same time. So impressive by the rookie.
Yeah, and once again, like, his ability to fit in schematically with what the Thunder wanted to do, and every single player saying, like, we can play the way that we play defensively with aggression, the turnovers that we're able to force out on the perimeter, because we know Chet is back there on the back line, not just going after those shots, but anchoring a defense by being in the right position time in and time out. That is so hard for a rookie to do.
So tough. So tough. Let's get into our "you can shay that again."
Right, nice.
What is the quote that you picked out from his end of season interview?
This is simple because Chet is a singularly focused human being. He is a man with blinders on at all times. Yeah. And I mean that in the biggest compliment that I can possibly give.
I expect nothing less from myself than to, work extremely hard and become a better player. I don't plan to come back next year as a worse player or an equal player. I plan to come back, better. And
that's Chet to a T. This guy is just a bull when it comes to seeing obstacles in front of him, knocking him over, and moving on to the next one. And everything that he sees is a red challenge in front of him of like, I have got to get better. We've heard Mark Daigneault talk about how exhausting it is to coach him sometimes because he is just a bottomless pit of wanting to improve and wanting to get better and wanting to do it as best as he possibly can and as fast as he possibly can. And so I am not surprised that was where his mind was at, even 24 hours removed from the end of the season.
Basketball junkie. That is Chet Holmgren to a T, and just kind of insatiable when it comes to basketball knowledge, getting better, learning, improving. Similar to what we talked about with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Same sort of mentality. This guy is always watching basketball. Yeah. Typically when we talk to him, he has a basketball in his hands during an interview of some sort. He just loves competing, loves everything that comes with competing. Yeah. Do you remember, I forget what part of the season it was, but Chet, he had gone through it. I mean, he had 2 black eyes, he had a bruised nose, he had a cut kind of on his face, and he was just like, it comes with it. It's part of it. And he was like, didn't sit out a game, obviously, and he was just, I think he just relishes and competing. Yeah. And everything that comes with it, he's totally fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, Chet is a warrior. And
and tough,
he embraces that. He wants to be that. He feels like that's something that is a unique gift of his. And he says he's been like that since he was a kid. He never wanted somebody to think that they could get one over on him, is his words. But we're all just so excited to see what that hard work turns into for Chet over the course of this year.
All right, here's my "shay that again" for our friend Chet Holmgren.
I wouldn't trade playing every game to sit out a couple to, say I didn't have to go through that. I think it was all worth it.
This was Chet talking about playing in 97 total games this season, not missing a single game. And he admittedly said, especially during January with all of the travel, the back-to-backs, there were times where it was tough to show up and, you don't necessarily have your A game, but half the battle is just being there and giving whatever you have in the tank. And that was my goal. That's what I did. And he basically said, I wouldn't trade any of those days to sit out a couple. I won all of it.
Yeah, and Paris, I think you and I both remember our first years working all 82 games, and we get to talk about the sport and, do a little bit of writing here and there, be on TV, but that's nothing compared to what these guys have to do. Yeah. And still, I think we both remember probably what our first years of having to go through all of that was like, and the challenges that come from that. And so for Chet to, again, not view that as a negative, but to embrace that experience. And I think that's something that if you're in this industry, you do, is you're like, okay, I had that experience and I'm stronger because of it. And now I know next year when I'm doing the all 82 again, I'm going to be even better at doing the all 82 because I know how that feels. I know how to regulate myself, how to get myself prepared each day.
There were we're not even doing anything.
Yeah.
And there were times where I would get up in the hotel and I wouldn't even want to go walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes, much less go play a full 2-hour basketball game, you know? So massive, massive kudos to Chet Holmgren and to Cason Wallace as well. Both of those guys, the entire season did not miss a single game. All right, let's talk about what blessed our timeline from this season for Chet Holmgren. Mine is, do you remember that night in Minnesota when the entire team got on a bus in like negative cold weather? It was
-5 or something.
-5, freezing cold weather. The night before they played the Timberwolves, everybody shows up to Minnehaha Academy in this packed, you know, high school gym to watch Chet get his jersey retired. It brought tears to my eyes. Yeah, it was so cool to see.
So special, and you just saw like the stream of Thunder players walking in as the varsity girls game was like finishing up, and you know, it brings you back to some of these like memories of being playing in high school sports and the camaraderie that goes with that, and to think that Chet really is not that far removed from that. True. Just 3 years basically. Or you know, less at that point in time. And so very cool that all those guys came and showed up, and I think a great display of the connection that he's built with his teammates, even separated from them for large swaths of his, you know, I guess true rookie year, to end this year as well, where he was, you know, still technically a rookie and, you know, playing basketball for the first time. For him to have built those relationships to the point where everyone was like, yeah, when's the bus leaving is massive. Yeah.
It wasn't a requirement. It wasn't mandatory. It was just like, hey, Chet's getting his jersey retired, and everybody's like, we'll be there.
Yeah. Just
what time's
tell
the
us.
bus?
Yeah, tell us when to be outside, and please have the bus
warm,
heat running.
Exactly. Okay. What blessed your timeline?
This is Chet's Twitter avatar for much of the year was just an amazing shot of Kenrich Williams, just looking like, you know, Denzel Washington in an action movie walking away from the camera.
This made me laugh so much because throughout the season when he had that avatar, it tricked me probably 5 to 10 times thinking, does Kenrich oh my gosh, does he have a Twitter finally? No, it's Chet.
I think it was like, and then as the season evolved, Chet actually changed that avatar to an amazing uncouth photo of Mark Daigneault caught like scratching his eye or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought, like, yet again, like Chet's understanding of the culture of the Thunder organization. It's something that he said when he first got drafted, is like, this place felt like the right place for me. Yeah. And understanding like Kenrich Williams as this cult figure, even within the Thunder locker room, as a guy that you revere Kenrich Williams. As he's still getting to know Kenrich Williams, I think was like really on point, and I think also a reflection of where Chet's values lie, because I think he sees in Kenrich what we all see in Kenrich, is a guy that is no nonsense, you know, has some blinders on as well, just like Chet does, in terms of a focus on being the best teammate that he can possibly be.
Once again, showcasing the connectedness and togetherness of this team, but also Chet's kind of funny too.
Oh,
Chet's hilarious. Yeah. And that's what all of these guys in their end of season interviews just talked about, how easy it is to joke with each other. And I think Chet using Kenrich as his Twitter avatar speaks fully of that.
Yeah. Also, I think we did some sleuthing, and we found out, the two of us, that Chet was the very first Barker.
Oh my gosh, it was Chet. It was Chet. That's right. We were trying to figure out the origins of the bark, and we assumed that it was J-Dub.
Right.
But then I was like, wasn't it J-Will? But then we go to the first barking interview.
We had to go to the video. We went to Secaucus.
We went to the film. We went to the film, the replay center. Yeah. And it was determined after review that Chet Holmgren was the first bark.
On an Aaron Wiggins walk-off interview in San Antonio.
That's right.
Just amazing.
That's my gosh, who would have thought? And I mean, Chet was the guy who started the rallying everybody in the post-game interviews. He started doing that during Summer League.
Yeah, his very first Summer League, in fact.
That's right.
Yeah.
Getting everybody involved from the very outset, that Chet Holmgren. Nice. All right. Let's give you just a quick peek into what you can expect from Chet during the off-season. He'll be in the gym.
Yep. Yeah. So that's where you can find him. And that's all of our update on what Chet Holmgren will be doing this summer.
His words exactly were, I love the off season. things you do not hear very often from guys. The offseason is a grind. It is grueling. Guys are getting after it. They're working hard. But he said, I love the offseason. I love working out. I love pickup. So you can expect he will be getting into all of those things. And it's so exciting to see, to just think about what he'll look like coming into his sophomore season.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren in year 2 is quite a thing to marvel at and think about. Yeah.
That is right. A lot to look forward to from this rookie, Chet Holmgren. That wraps up our podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up and catch you later.